So you guys went on a ghost hunt on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and can you tell me about what happened?
Well, nothing really much happened. We went there and we set up our cameras and we started investigating and we took them down when we were done. No problems there. We got our cameras from the school, so I mean, we had all of our equipment. We looked professional. And the only thing of note that happened during the night was that one bump. But I mean, and it was noticeably loud enough for us all to hear downstairs from a different room. But we're not sure what it was, and we don't know what room it was in. So.
All right. You were talking about like airplanes moving.
Yeah.
Did that happen or anything?
Not that night, no.
All right. How do you go about getting permission and finding places that are said to be haunted?
The guy actually called me.
Really?
Yeah, he's friends with one of our members that you haven't met yet, and he called, or more rather, he gave his number to me via the friend, and then I called him and had said to him that you would like us to come and investigate it, and he said, yes, that's actually something that I was looking forward to. So that's how we got our first job.
All right. What are some things you need to bring with you to a ghost hunt?
Some things that we need to bring, some things that we did bring, or some things in the future that we will need to bring?
Both. That you did bring and that in the future.
Okay, so in the past, the last ghost hunt that we had, we brought a regular video camera, 2 HD cameras with flashes, a DVR and 4 IR cameras along with a television so that we can view them on the monitor. In the future, the IR cameras and the DVR are a necessity, and I think we're going to have to get funding from the school to get 2 digital IR handheld camcorders and 2 digital IR photography still photo picture cameras.
Okay. What kind of thoughts do you have when entering a place that's said to be haunted? Or thoughts that you need to have?
You should be going in there thinking that it's not haunted, and it's up to the place to convince you that it is.
Okay. Do you interview like witnesses before the event?
Mm-hmm. We did that 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And what do you usually get from them?
We get their stories so that we can know where to focus our investigation. Most of the activity from the stories that we got were specific to that one room, and by most I mean actually all. Sorry for using different types of languages, but all of the stories that we got focused in on that room, especially around the planes. So we had a camera on the planes the entire night. So we did investigate the other rooms, but the main room that we focused on was the one military room. So.
Okay. Do you have to prep or do anything certain or any certain things before entering a place?
Like what?
Like set up cameras, or like what kind of prep work do you have?
Yes, we had an hour to an hour and a half that we were setting up everything. That's why we got there so early at 5 o'clock or 5:45.
What kind of work is there to do before and after? Like in general, like finding out the place, like history on the place, or.
Yeah, we would need to find some history on the place. That's usually afterwards, though.
All right, so we were talking about prep work or things you have to do afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of things do you have to do after?
Afterwards, like I said, there's a certain degree of research that you have to do in order to find out the history on the place. I would say that that's an afterwards job just because you don't want to bias your opinion before you go in. Beforehand, I mean, I guess the only preparation that you have to do is make sure all the equipment's packed. And afterwards, you need to make sure that all the equipment's packed up afterwards.
Okay.
I mean, again, if you do end up getting a demonic haunt, though, I would say afterwards that you probably should, just as a precaution, go get blessed by a priest, or go to a church or something like that, and try to make sure nothing followed you.
Okay. What happens if you do encounter an active spirit?
An active or demonic?
Active and then demonic.
Active spirit, I mean, you just try to catch it on camera, try to get everything that you can.
Okay. Alright, what about demonic?
You leave.
Alright. What kind of religious relics or symbols do you use? Or do you use any?
Nope. We don't use any. We're trying to keep religion out of the club, just merely as like, you know, the only focus is whether or not, you know, a spirit is there. When the only reason we're trying to keep religion out of it is because we don't want to be known as a religious club, and we don't want to be strictly Christian on campus, as there's lots of beliefs about spirits and spiritualism around the world. So we want to be an open and free club, but we do have a tendency to bias towards Christian because that's what I know.
Okay. All right. What kind of analysis work do you do after entering the place that's said to be haunted? I guess kind of answered that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess before we enter, we get the stories, and when we enter, we kind of have an idea of where to put the cameras.
Okay. How would a typical ghost hunt?
Huh?
How would a typical ghost hunt go? Like,
you get there about an hour, 30 minutes early. You set up. After setup's done, you send people out to get food. You eat, and then you start your investigation as soon as it gets dark out.
You were talking about something about like witching hour.
Yep.
Or how you.
About 3 in the morning. It's called the witching hour, but it's also called anti-hour. Jesus Christ was crucified at 3 in the afternoon, supposedly, and at 3 in the morning, as a way to mock Jesus, spirits are more active, or more to the point, demonic spirits are more active, and that just allows the spirits in the and I don't want to say spirit world because that just means something completely different, but in the plane at which they exist to act up more.
Okay. What do you prefer to be called? Do you prefer to be called ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, or something else?
Personally, me, it doesn't matter.
It does.
For my friend in the club, he would rather be called a paranormal investigator because ghost hunter means it sounds like you're hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just kind of is a personal preference type of thing. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me. You can call me a paranormal investigator. You can call me a ghost hunter. The only caveat with paranormal investigator is when you say paranormal investigator, it seems like you're encompassing all the paranormal aspects, which would include cryptozoology, UFO hunting, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They said we don't focus on those. We specifically focus on ghosts.
Okay. What are the best times to go ghost hunting or investigation? Like time of a year and time and day.
Well, time of day would be at night. I would say as for time of the year, it just depends on when the activity's happening. I can't say that the summer is better than the winter because sometimes ghosts are active during the winter and during the summer. I would say that, there's a reason why sometimes solstices have been held in certain religious and cultic values because it is said to be a time where spirits are more active during those times as well. But I think that's just a perception thing because, the human spirit itself is a very powerful thing. So because we're thinking of them and we have them on our mind, we're more likely to have spirits active at that time because we're paying more attention to it.
Okay. What kind of things do you look for or feel for when you go into an investigation?
I would say that on the practical and physical side, we look to see if anything's moving or anything like that. And if we're feeling if like a room gets cold all of a sudden, or if you run out of all your battery on your electronic devices, those are usually things that you look for. But on like a mental feely type of side, we don't do that because I think that we shouldn't keep that in our investigation at all. We should keep it as fact, you know what I mean? Something observable. Because if I go to a place and say, oh, it feels haunted, I feel that it's haunted, but you don't have that same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go into a place and I catch a picture of a ghost doing a handstand, sticking its tongue out at you, I can go, what do you think?
Yeah.
Pretty much, proof right here. Instead of I feel, it's a see?
Gotcha. What are some things you should never do during a ghost hunt?
Act unprofessional.
Okay.
If it's a demonic spirit, never challenge it. Can't really think of any other really heavy don'ts. Use common sense when you're out there. I guess in the ways of severely don't do it. Don't use Ouija boards. Don't do seances. It's okay to challenge a spirit. Say, hey, are you gonna open the door sometime soon? I know you like to do that. Or why aren't you playing with the planes? That's fine. But if you go, hey, why don't you open the door, you ninny or something like that, and the door flies open and then breaks the glass, you've probably pissed off a demon and he's answered your challenge. Time for you to leave.
Okay. What are some plans for your future for your organization?
I'd like to get an office in the school.
That'd be good. And like, do you plan on just staying as an on-campus, or do you plan on?
Well, as long as the school continues to fund us.
Okay.
I mean, if we wanted to have a sister club outside of OU's campus, I don't see any benefit to it because we can already become a nonprofit while we're affiliated with the school. It just depends if the school wants to be affiliated with us.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanna say, or think that'd be
No.
beneficial?
I wouldn't say that there's anything in particular. No.
All right. Well, thank you for sticking it out with me.